Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here today from my phone figures. In this video today, I have got my early predictions for WrestleMania 41. I just want to talk about WrestleMania 41 in a little 10 to 15 minute, probably be 10 minutes prediction video. I'm going to try to do this as fast as I can because I got so much matches in my mind right now that I think are going to happen. So, yeah, we're going to be doing WrestleMania predictions. I guess in a while I'll watch this and I'll be like, how many of these were actually accurate? Like, I don't know how many of these will actually be accurate. So, I'll have to have a look at how many of these will actually happen at WrestleMania when the actual predictions come up. So, let's see how many of these that I can get right, other than the ones that are announced, of course. So, yeah, let's get into the video. Let's get into it. Yeet. The road to WrestleMania has not been the greatest. Last year's was so much better, mainly because we had The Rock and we had Roman Reigns involved, and the whole thing with Cody and Seth Rollins. The poster he was hanging fell over. All right, let's get into the WrestleMania predictions. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna start with like the most predictable match. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Jay versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther, of course, being the World Heavyweight Champion. Jay won the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble. Personally, I would have given Jay the Money in the Bank win instead of the Royal Rumble win. I'm a huge Jay Uso fan. Like I love Jay Uso, but yet again, Gunther is the champ. And what is the most interesting storyline you can tell with Gunther? The only one that I can really come up with is Punk versus Gunther. That would have been the other choice that they could have went with. That would have been the most interesting story to tell with Gunther. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit off the mic there. Other than that, I don't really know what would have been the most interesting story. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Jay Gunther straight off. I'm literally not even going to talk about their feud. It's been okay. There's not much more to tell other than hasn't beat Gunther and he feels like he can and he is going to beat Gunther. So my prediction is Jay wins. All right, so Jay Uso beats Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Moving on. Okay, the next match is Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship. Current champ, of course, being Tiffany Stratton. Um, Bit of an odd choice in my opinion. I mean, this is a dream match. I've always wanted to see this match, but the way that they've done it has been terrible. I think the feud, first of all, the feud has been taken up. The feud has been terrible so far. The way that Charlotte Flair picked her was awful. Tiffany just beat Nia from a DQ. She got attacked from Nia. Charlotte comes out, sits in her chair, says, "Wake up, Tiffy," with a terrible promo, and then just says, "I pick you." She said, "Inspire me." She said, "I want to see what inspires me. Who inspires me to pick them?" So you're telling me that Tiffany Stratton's match against Nia Jax was what inspired her? So she was inspired by Tiffany winning by a DQ? Like, how does this make any sense? Tiffany Stratton won with a DQ, and then she's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna pick you." There is absolutely no logical good reason for that. Second of all, I would have had Charlotte pick Rhea. I don't think that Tiffany needs to have her second title defense be at WrestleMania against Charlotte Flair already when like we literally only gave her this title. You had this huge build with her and Nia Jax with they had their relationship. Then obviously it was going to turn out that Tiffany Stratton turns on her and cashes in. Everyone knew that this was eventually going to happen. You have it happen. Then she loses to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, and that's her second title defense. Just think about that. They announced the tag team match between her and um, what's her name? Bloody Trish Stratus. My mind blanked. Versus Nia and Candice LeRae. Like you could have had her face Trish at Chamber, and that would have been 10 times better. Don't understand that match. She's still in a feud with Nia, which is like ridiculous. You should have just had her beat Nia clean. You move on. She faces Trish, and then announce Charlotte. Like the way that they done this was just a complete mess. But anyways, they picked Tiffany versus Charlotte for Mania. My prediction is gonna be that Charlotte Flair wins. Unfortunately, like they could give this to Tiffany Stratton. Like I could see them giving this to Tiffany Stratton, but Charlotte Flair has been like out for like what? She was out for like a year. I think it was like she got injured like November 2023. I think that's when it was. They showed a date when she got injured, anyways, before she come back. So she's literally come back. They're gonna have a huge run. Like they're gonna give her to her. Charlotte Flair, the way she's being presented, she's gonna win the title. Charlotte Flair, obviously, I'm not mad at it because I am a fan of Charlotte Flair, and I would actually like to see her have a good lengthy reign. So I would personally say and book, Charlotte wins. Then she has a rematch against Tiffany at SummerSlam, man. Tiffany wins back then. That's what I'm going to predict. We're moving on. All right, so that does it for every match that's been announced. We've only got 2 matches announced. Now we're going to move on to the mid card championships for the men's. All right, Intercontinental Championship, current champ Braun Breaker. I'm going to say that he has a match against the phenomenal AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I could say Penta as well, but too early to be having Penta versus Braun Breaker, let's be honest. Another guy you could also say is Sheamus, but we've seen Sheamus Braun way too many times now. And personally, I just will not do that match again. I don't want to see it again. And Sheamus has another 5 years to win that title. He signed a 5-year deal. Why rush it? Maybe bring out the story even more. There's more you can tell with that story. So yeah, I'm gonna say AJ versus Braun, and my prediction for that match is gonna be that AJ Styles takes the title from Braun Breaker. AJ's not gonna be there for much longer. He's gonna retire soon. So come on, you may as well give him a title while he's still there. And I think that this would be a good way for Braun Breaker to end his title reign. Moving on. The current United States champion is Shinsuke Nakamura, and I just don't see him having the title going into WrestleMania. I don't see him having the title at Mania. I see LA Knight beating him for the championship next week. I think that match is happening next week. Okay, and then I see the United States Championship being a fatal four-way between Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, and Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso for the United States title. And the reason I'm saying this is because Drew is in a feud with all 3 guys here. He's in a feud with LA Knight, he's in a feud with Damian, and he's in a feud with Jimmy. These are all in the mid card scene kind of right now. Not really, but like they've kind of all been in a spiral feud with each other, right? Unfortunately, Drew, I hate to see him in the mid card. He's not making the world title scene this year, which is a joke. They should have had Drew Cody or Drew Gunther. But nah, they don't. So it is what it is. I think Drew will eventually beat Cody though at SummerSlam. So if Punk doesn't beat him. But anyways, we're not going to complain about that. I was going to make a prediction, and I'm going to say that Big Jim Uso wins the United States title. I'd love to see this, and then you could have a moment between Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania where they both are holding up the titles with confetti. So why not do this? And also, Drew McIntyre being in this match is not the greatest, but think about it, it will be an absolute banger. So that's a good thing, I guess, for Drew. All right, then for the women's mid card title, I think it is going to be Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Now, I could be wrong with this because they could be doing Becky goes into the chamber, could be a mystery opponent, and she goes into face Rhea. But they could still put Becky in the chamber and she doesn't win. So I'm going to say that it's Lyra versus Becky for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. It's Irish versus Irish, that's the story. And I'm going to say that Becky Lynch ends up coming on top here. I'm going to say Becky Lynch wins because I don't see them having Lyra beat Becky. Just not yet. Not yet. Down the line, yes. But you're gonna have Becky win, but it's also kind of gonna be a passing of the torch moment between Becky and Lyra, and I could see the Irish viewers really loving this. I'm from Ireland, so I think this would be a great match. I think this would be a great way to have Becky Lynch not be in the world title picture this year at WrestleMania. So I'm gonna say Becky versus Lyra, and Becky wins. And then for the United States Championship, I see them doing Chelsea Green versus Pippa Niven for the United States Championship. They've already hinted at this, and I personally don't think that they're going to keep the United States title on Chelsea Green for that much longer. Like, I don't think she's going to have the longest reign, and I don't think this title matters that much. So, like right now, it doesn't. And, I don't think Triple H is going to care that much for doing this as a long storyline. People could say, oh, happen more down the line, but Mania is still a decent amount away. And I could see Pippa turn on her and get sick of the way Chelsea is just busting around. They've already hinted at this. So I'm going to say Pippa versus Chelsea. And I'm going to say Pippa Niven becomes the new United States Women's Champion because I think that they're going to give her a push. Moving on. Okay, and the current women's champions are Naomi and Bianca Belair, and I think that they might go into WrestleMania as champs. It depends on when Jade returns. Now, Jade could return at the Chamber and cost Naomi and Bianca Belair the match. You know, that could happen. But then the thing about it is, they don't lose their titles, they just lose the chamber spot. So then maybe they could cost the titles again, but I don't really know if they're going to change the titles. So I'm going to say that the champs going into Mania are these two, and that the winners are going to be Liv and Raquel, and that Jade is going to cost them the match. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen here. It's kind of hard to predict. They could have this match happen, like these two versus Raquel and Liv on like Raw or something. Is it Raw that they're on or SmackDown? Whatever bloody brand they have this match on. And then they could lose the titles, and then Bianca and Naomi go into a feud with Jade. You know, they could do that, but I'm going to say that Triple H does this long ass storytelling, long ass booking, and maybe maybe we don't see Jade for weeks, right? We have this built up for weeks. She makes her return at WrestleMania and costs these two the tag team titles. So then I have Liv and Raquel becoming the women's world tag team champions. Anyways, moving on. Okay, for the tag team title, I'm gonna predict that it is DIY versus the Street Profits. Unfortunately, they're just not giving those tag team titles. Pretty deadly. So I'm gonna say that the Street Profits become new tag team champions at WrestleMania and beat DIY. So they're gonna give Street Profits the push 100%. And it just makes more sense for them to be DIY since they attacked them and they have a feud with them right now. So yeah, we're going to move on to the Raw ones. Okay, Raw Tag Team titles, current champs being the Viking Raiders. I think that they are going to face the New Day. I can't believe this is the best that I could come up with, but the tag division is kind of bad on Raw, and I don't really see them giving any other opponents, not unless they do like a huge match with Alpha Academy in there, American Made, New Day, the Judgment Day. That would be a lot more interesting. I would personally like to see the Judgment Day win the titles, Carlito and Dominic. That would just be hilarious if they beat the Viking Raiders. But unfortunately, that might not happen. Or you could have Finn in there with Dominic. You could have Finn and Dominic in there, and they could win the tag team titles. They could do that. I'd love to see that happen. And then they could have Raquel and Liv hold the titles as well. So Judgment Day would hold tag titles. But I'm just going to stick with the New Day for now, or the Judgment Day. That's literally it. Unfortunately, I'm saying New Day win the goddamn tag team titles, because they're gonna give these a reign, man, now that they're heels. Moving away from the tag team titles for a while, or titles for a while, I'm gonna say Kevin versus Randy. Unfortunately, this is the match that's gonna happen for both of these guys. Kevin, don't really care too much about. Randy, I do. I kind of want to see Randy Cena and Punk Cody, but I'd also like to see Punk Cena Cody, and I'd also like to see Cody Punk or Cody Cena Randy and Punk. That would be amazing. But anyways, unfortunately, this is the match that they have planned. Sammy's facing Kevin at Elimination Chamber most likely. Randy Orton is going to make his return, and then he's going to go into WrestleMania, face Kevin Owens, and win. That's all I got to say about this. It's kind of a bit of a boring feud, man. They've built this up for so long just for Randy to come back. I know he's injured, but Randy's gonna come back at Chamber, cost Kevin onto the match. Sammy's gonna win. Sammy and Kevin are gonna move on, and then Kevin's gonna be mad at Randy, and then they're gonna have Randy versus Kevin at WrestleMania. Or Randy might not cost him. Sami Zayn might just win. Anyways, moving on. Randy could just distract him or something. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. This match is gonna happen. I don't think that they're gonna have Punk in this. I think they're gonna do something else with Punk. I've already kind of said it. Anyways, really quickly, it's been 14 minutes. I'm gonna say this match happens. Seth costs Roman the Chamber spot, and then I'm gonna say that the OTC Roman Reigns wins. I'm not giving this win to Seth Rollins. I'm sorry, Seth Rollins has to lose this match. It has to be the OTC that wins Roman Reigns. Alright, really quickly, I had to include this. Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory. I see this happen at Mania. They built this up now for a while. I personally think that Austin Theory will beat Grayson, unfortunately. If this match happens, Austin Theory is winning this match. I'm going to move on from this because I don't want to spend too long on this. Austin wins, moving on. Alright, the last match I'm going to talk about other than the biggest match. If I missed anything, I'm not too bothered. Anyway, Solo Sikoa is going to face Jacob Fatu. And I'm going to predict that Jacob Fatu wins. Fatu! Moving on. Okay, the last match that we're going to be talking about, the main event of WrestleMania Night 2. I'm going to say Night 1 main event will be Jay versus Gunther. I personally will not main event Roman versus Seth. Come on, give it to Jay, give it to Gunther. They both deserve it. Anyways, and then the Night 2 main event is going to be John Cena versus Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. Let me explain. Okay, so let me explain how this is going to happen. John Cena is going to win the Elimination Chamber. CM Punk is then going to call in his favor. The match is going to be Cody versus Cena until Punk calls in this favor from the wise man Paul Heyman. Now, it doesn't make complete sense, but if he calls in his favor and he gets Paul to help him win the chamber by Roman helping him, then Punk wins. But how does Cena get the match, right? Think about that. If Punk wins the chamber, Cena will not be getting added to this match, so Cena will be doing something else, right? So this way of doing it, you get both guys added to this match. So Punk calls in his favor with Paul Heyman, and the favor is that he can get added to any world title match of his choosing: Cody versus Cena or Gunther versus Jey Uso. And of course, he picks this match right here: Cody versus Cena. And that is simply how this match is going to happen. It's as simple as that. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. I've got to talk about who's going to win, though. I'm giving the win to my guy, the best in the world, CM Punk. That was the video. Thank you for watching. My Phone Figures out.